Korea, and welcome to the GSL. I'm Tasteless. With me is Artosis, and we got some more StarCraft 2 action for you guys coming up today. This is, again, the GSL, sponsored by Sony Ericsson. And you know what? We got some very cool games coming up here in just a minute.
We do.
Yeah.
I think it's more than just a minute, but...
maybe 3 minutes.
Yeah, it might be 3 to 5 minutes.
You never know.
But anyways, it's a lot of good matches today. I'm quite excited about them. Opening up with Foxer, Fake Fox, who's changed his ID to MarineKing.
Yes.
It's pretty fitting, I'd say.
Well, he is the guy that micro-marines so well.
Yeah.
It was kind of mind-blowing, actually, to watch. He sort of changed the way we were viewing Terran versus Zerg. People didn't really think you could stay low-tier like that for so long and pull off a win.
I know. Very entertaining player to watch. Going to go up against a Startail player in Monster, a Zerg player, a Monster Zerg, Tasteless. It's going to be pretty exciting, I think. It's a good match to open up the night with, at least.
Yeah, I think it's going to be exciting. It's another TVZ. I know we had a lot of those yesterday. I believe 3 of those last night. We only have 2 today. But it's interesting. We've seen so many TVZs.
Yeah.
I'm actually losing count of how many we've casted so far.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
A lot of Terrans, a lot of Zergs getting in this season. Not so many Protoss.
Yeah.
So there we are, just doing these same matchups over and over and over.
So, of course, one big question I'm asking myself is, are we going to see the same micro from our player MarineKing, who was formerly known as Boxer? Are we going to see that kind of similar style, or are we going to see him play something sort of different?
He's going to have to eventually branch out.
Yeah,
you can't just make only Marines for your entire pro gamer career and hope to keep winning stuff. It's not the way it works, Tasteless.
Unfortunately,
Hopefully,
no.
He's going to have a few more builds in his repertoire as opposed to last time.
Well, we're going to find out soon. It's only the round of 32, but the level of play here has been pretty impressive, even the round of 64. Of course, we also have Guinea Pig playing against Enoch Foyu, which I'm really looking forward to.
I am, too.
Enoch Foyu taking out Clyde, and Guinea Pig blowing our minds. Speaking of yesterday's matches, though, let's take a look at some of these games from day 2 of the round of 32.
Bit by bit, Prime took out New Dawn 2-0, both all-ins. TSL Fruit Dealer took out SC Foyu in a very close series 2-1. That Fruit Dealer definitely could have lost that. Unfortunately, Liquid Ret was defeated by the best Foyu. Very cheesy series right there. And then Hongun Prime makes the first carriers of the GSL and takes out JSL Zenith. GSL has done an amazing job up till now, and Hongun just tooled him over. It was really quite impressive.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how far Hongun Prime can get in this event. If we go to today's matches, we're going to see MarineKing Prime, that was Foxer, not Slayer's Boxer, different guy. Got second place in GSL Season 2. He's going to be playing against ST Monster. Then we have the Guinea Pig from TSL against Enoch Foyu, the eliminator of Clyde, also on TSL. Then we have 2 OGSs duking it out, Hyper Dub and MC. And our final match of the day is going to be, that's right, the old school July Zerg playing against Alive Foyu.
Really exciting matches, all of them.
Yeah.
There's something interesting going on in every match. You know, that first one, we of course have Foxer. Can he keep it up against such a good player?
Right.
Guinea Pig took out Junwei, one of the highest ranked players on the Korean ladder, in the worldwide on the ladder, and also an amazing StarCraft 1 pro gamer Zerg. Just destroyed him in that first round. And against Enoch Foyu, who took out Clyde in an amazing series in the round of 64.
I have no idea who's going to win between these two guys.
And then we have the battle of the OGS players. These guys practice together all the time. We're definitely going to see them each pull something new out of their hats. And then finally, and certainly not least Tasteless, July Zerg. Can he take out one of the best Foyu players? I don't know. I think he's going to have his hands full against Alive.
You know, one thing that's interesting about July Zerg is that he has had his own style coming into StarCraft 2. He does play it a lot more like it's StarCraft 1. For instance, putting drones on gas and taking them off when he has Zergling speed. But I think you're right. It's going to be tough to beat a Foyu. Foyu, right now, possibly looking like the best Korean team out there.
Could be.
So I really don't know what to expect from that series either. But I do think it's going to be tough. I think you're right.
Yeah. So a great series of matches. I'm excited, though, Tasteless. I really want to start. I hope that we get to look at our players soon.
Right.
Discuss them a little bit, discuss the maps a little bit, and then wait awkwardly to start the broadcast.
That's right. Watch me try to get the game going while I slowly fill it in with word by word until eventually it closes out. Yeah, that's my favorite part of doing this.
I always enjoy that. I just sit here smiling because you keep talking. I'm like,
eventually the camera's going to start. and we're going to get into the game. Pretty soon here, we're going to introduce our players. Again, it is a TVZ. We've casted so many TVZs.
Yeah,
this is kind of the TVZ season here.
It is. It is.
Season 3. So many games. But guys, thank you so much for joining us. Tastes on our toast. We are both StarCraft 1 pro gamers. We're currently StarCraft 2 pro gamers. Although we do a lot more casting than playing right now. But we love StarCraft. We love sharing our passions with you guys. So thank you again for tuning in. Please spread the word to your friends and family and strangers, anybody else, to tune in to GOM TV.
Of course.
If they can't tune in live, we do have a premium package where you can get access to all the VODs, only about $20 US. And it's a pretty good deal when you consider how much it costs to buy a DVD or anything else like that.
That's true.
So spread the word. And that money does go to improve our streaming services. So wherever you are in the world, you're going to get the best quality of GOM TV StarCraft 2 action. So once we're ready to introduce the players, we're going to do that. MarineKing here did change his name to MarineKing. He was Boxer.
The one negative thing I can say about him is that he's been very indecisive on his ID. He said in an interview if the foreigners wanted him to change his name to Foxer, he would.
Right.
He changed his name to Foxer for like 12 minutes before a Korean interviewed him. It was like, well, this name doesn't really fit you. What do you know, Korean interviewer? You don't know anything. And then he switched his name again to Optimus, and then he decided ever since he didn't win, Optimus should only go to a Prime who wins a championship. And now he's named MarineKing Prime.
That's what the Korean scene nicknamed him.
Yeah, so I don't like all the name change, and I don't like the deceitfulness to the foreign community.
We have on our left MarineKing, second place in GSL Season 1. On the right is ST Monster. Monster, I think he's going to be the underdog in this, but you never know. He could pull off something pretty impressive. Both these guys pretty young. 18 for MarineKing, 17 for Monster. So I'm interested in seeing who's going to pull through here.
Yeah, this could be a very good match. Now, MarineKing, we did not see his first round match because next line is in the hospital, unfortunately. Always sad when something like that happens. You know, the next team is a great team.
Yeah.
And I would have liked to see that match. But MarineKing, he's going to be ready. He just got second down at the G-Stars Invitational to Kyrix. So, you know, he's still in really good shape. Still a top-end player. We're going to have to see. Does Monster know his style enough to take him out?
Yeah, that's going to be the big question. The one thing about Monster, he said he's mostly just competent on Zelnaga Caverns. He's not as competent on Lost Temple, Zelda Quadrant, or Steps of War. That's not too shocking because those are the maps that Zerg probably struggle on the most. But speaking of maps, let's take a look at today's map lineup. Jungle Basin, Steps of War, and Lost Temple. Now, Jungle Basin, that's not a bad map for Zerg against Terran. But it's, compare that to Steps of War and Lost Temple.
Jungle Basin, actually, this season, Zergs are 0-6 against Terran on.
Yeah, that's kind of weird.
It's a pretty terrible map for Zerg against Terran. So is Steps of War and Lost Temple.
Steps of War and Lost Temple are pretty bad.
Yeah.
Jungle Basin, we've seen, actually that's true, this season.
We've seen a lot of close games, but Zerg always has lost. You know, all three maps are going to be very hard for Monster. It's as simple as that. Those are like the three maps that Zergs actually don't want to play on.
So, we're going to back out here, taking a shot. Damn, that's some good fan art.
That is really good.
That is actually so impressive. That's the best fan art I think we've seen here in the studio.
Yeah.
Obviously, that is for MarineKing. Yeah. Anyways, we don't have much time left before these two guys duke it out. Jungle Basin, our first map. As Arto said, Steps of War, you really don't want to beat Zerg on that map.
No.
Lost Temple, it's tough to hold an expansion. Jungle Basin, Zergs are not doing as well on this map, but I would probably say, you might disagree with me, but I'd probably say that map easier in the early game, harder in the mid game.
Fair enough.
The Zerg.
Yep. You can take that expansion pretty quickly. So, you know, that's quite good. So, yeah, the very early game, I would say Zerg has a pretty good time of it. So,
the hard part for our Zerg against MarineKing is going to be securing the third and fourth base.
Yeah. That is the cruel fate that has befallen all of our Zergs here so far. That might be why it's been so interesting game so far on that map, Tasteless, is because in the early game, the Zerg actually gets off to a very nice start, but as it progresses, the Terran just always seems to come back.
Yeah, the countdown started. Get ready for some TVZ action here on the map Jungle Basin with MarineKing Prime against Monster. Looks like I will load the very last.
You are so slow, Tasty.
I'm my computer is slow today. Over here in the red, second place in GSL Season 2, his name is
해병왕 프라임 위.
MarineKing Prime. Up here in the top left on our 1-on-1 map, a member of the Team ST. His name is none other than
스타트의 괴물.
It's ST Monster.
Steve Monster wearing a Lego shirt today.
Yeah, it's actually very funny. It's a Bank shirt, and Bank is like the Korean ripoff of Lego, and they just make shirts. It's kind of interesting.
I have seen those around.
Yeah.
Okay. Nobody opening up with an early pool or an early barracks.
Yeah.
I would not be surprised if we see a pretty standard textbook game. Zerg going to go ahead and expand. That's one advantage Zerg has in this map. They get the expansion up. As said before, it's harder for the Zerg to get the third base up.
Huh.
Terran, hold that thought. We have an early extractor
That's
there.
interesting. This player, I would imagine he would go hatchery first. It's so popular from Korean Zergs right now, and especially on this map. This is actually a map where you can pool first and feel pretty safe.
Yeah.
But he is deciding to do an uber safe build or perhaps an aggressive build. We'll have to see.
Yeah, he did get his gas before the spawning pool. No, Terran did not wall in as well.
When you get your gas that quickly before the spawning pool, in fact, at that timing, normally that is when the spawning pool finishes, you'll have 100 gas, and you can go ahead and grab Zergling speed immediately.
Yeah.
It's an extremely safe opening.
Sort of reminds me of July Zerg's play. You know, he wants to get that Zergling speed out early. He wants to control the map.
Yeah, that's definitely something it does do for you. Makes you feel pretty safe in the early game, that's for sure. The only problem is things like Hellion builds can be pretty good against it. On this map, though, I very doubt that we will see anything like that. I think, in fact, Foxer's already decided by not getting a gas quite yet that he's going to go one barracks expansion.
Yeah, that looks exactly like what he's going to do. And here's the SCV now, heading towards the expansion. Getting that set up.
Yeah. We do see that speed is upgrading. A couple Zerglings out, going to remove this SCV pretty quickly. And what will be interesting is, will he make a bunch more Zerglings?
Yeah.
He is going to expand, but if he makes a bunch more Zerglings as that Queen pops out, Foxer may need to wall in somewhat, because a bunch of speed Zerglings against one Barracks Marine can definitely overwhelm.
Yeah, that's quite true. He could actually just overrun him. And take a look over here. We do
Foxer
see
very smart, though.
Nice, very smart.
With the double barracks there, no way is he going to be able to overrun. And he's not really making a lot of Zerglings anyway, so it's all right.
No, Foxer known for getting a lot of barracks early on. That's why he's currently using the ID MarineKing.
Yeah, King of the Marines, man. Does more with Marines than we ever thought was possible.
Yeah.
It's pretty standard openings right now. I really love Monster's play. This is how Artosis plays. You get that speed up, you get a few Zerglings out, you make your expansion, go double Queen, regain your economy. So he's looking safe as can be. Gonna harass these rocks over here, which is always a good move. Zerg, you have to use your mobility to its fullest on this map,
Oh, yeah.
as we've seen a lot of good Zergs going from Mutilis harassment, some speedling run-bys and stuff like that on this map. That's kind of how you have to play it.
Now, one thing you can do at Zerg is you can take out the destructible rocks here. That kind of makes a backdoor opening. That way, if Terran tries to push out and attack one of your expansions here, or here, you can bleed in through the back and start attacking this expansion. So any damage you get on these rocks is great, especially because later on, Mutilisks can clean up the rocks. That does make an opening. Meanwhile, Creep Tumor is being expanded towards the ramp. You want to get as much of that creep as possible all over the place.
Yep. And I like this right there. Look at that Marauder. He's going to hold that choke. A Marauder, a lot more hit points than a Marine, and it takes like 1 trillion Banelings to kill it, so a very safe thing to wall in with that Marauder.
Layer on the way now for Zerg.
Yeah. And you know what, Tasteless? I am really liking our Zerg player. Look at this. He's already got that third queen outlaying, a lot of creep tumors. And, yeah, he's just going for economy, some speedlings, some extra queens. Very good Zerg play. Oh, look at this, though. This is a pretty strong amount of units. A Baneling Nest is being made for our Zerg player. So, Monster getting ready for this. It looks like his Baneling should be ready in time to hold this off. But Stim is coming from MarineKing, so he's got to be careful about that.
The ramp doesn't seem to be too particularly defended. There's no spine crawler there. I don't know if Terran's actually expecting this attack to work or if he's just trying to apply pressure, force the Zerg back into his base. Meanwhile, we have an Overlord over here. He's sacking, trying to get some intel. Back here at the entrance to the Zerg's base, though, I'm getting a little bit worried, Artosis.
Yeah, he does have a few Banelings being made and a ton of Zerglings. I think there's nothing to fear, Tasteless. When he comes into the open ground with all these Zerglings, he's going to lose his army.
Take a peek over here. He does back out.
And look at this, flanking with the Banelings.
Very nice.
Bam! That's what you get, Foxer. That was very nice move there with those Banelings.
The Zerglings are moving out now. And you can see Foxer right now, or MarineKing rather, is now trying to regroup and just get some stuff to defend. I do agree he should not have actually moved that far up.
Yeah.
I thought he was just going to come up here and kind of push everything back into the main.
You know, you said it right,
again.
Tasteless, when he was moving out. You're like, well, is he using this to pressure? Or is he using this to actually do some sort of damage? And
yeah,
of course, it should have been a pressure move where you just walk it up, force your opponent to make some units. But Foxer thought that he could, or rather, MarineKing thought that he could actually do some serious damage with it. So, you know, that is not going to work against a top-end player.
Yeah, absolutely not. Now we have the low ground controlled by the Zerg. Zerg really high with map dominance right now. Terran two-basing pretty hard, but remember, Zerg has to figure out how to get another expansion up. Usually it's this place or this place that they take. Most likely this one. This is probably the most accessible to the Zerg. You can control this ramp here, try to keep them away. Meanwhile, MarineKing is going to go ahead and scout around with the factory. Not uncommon. In fact, it's pretty smart because the factory has so many hit points.
Yeah.
And you don't want to waste your scans.
Now, it looks like Tasteless, our Spire has just finished up. He is making 6 mutas right now, getting that Baneling speed, making a lot of Zerglings as well. Not taking a third base quite yet. So he may go for a huge amount of units to crush any attacks that Foxer brings out, and then worry about expansions later. And, you know, the fact that factory is actually floating around is quite telling as well. Shows us that Foxer doesn't want, or rather MarineKing, sorry, does not want to make siege tanks, and thus is just going to be Marine Marauder medevac.
That means Banelings at times can be very powerful.
Oh, yeah.
You're absolutely right. The factory can be a tell. Actually, not even a tell, a straight-up giveaway about what your tech tree is going to look like. Now, remember, this is a MarineKing. He's named that for a reason. He's probably got some of the best infantry control, if not the best we've ever seen here.
Yeah, he definitely does. And this is quite interesting. An armory being made despite throwing away the factory.
We have an additional factory?
Oh, okay, that's going to be for upgrades, actually. Never mind.
Yeah, of course, the engineering bay.
Silly me.
It happens.
Yeah. I'm sorry for letting you down, Tasteless.
No, it's okay. You're always perfect in my eyes, Artosis.
Oh.
No. So, once again, as was predicted, he will attack those rocks with the Mutalisks, but the Marine Army is not going to turn around. He's scanning around himself, just checking for burrowed Banes or anything else like that.
Yep. He's got to be very careful about that, but these Banelings, they do have speed, and the more he makes, as long as he engages on creep, this army should do reasonably well against Foxers, or MarineKings. It'll take me a little bit.
He's going up the ramp. I don't know if he should necessarily cover this area with his army. You can see he's going to try to flank here with the Banelings. The question is, will Foxer actually engage MarineKing? Excuse me.
Uh-oh, this is a great position for MarineKing.
Yeah, the
Marauder's in the front there, spreading his Marines, and wow.
That was
Startail's monster, man. His army just got rolled there. He was just completely out of position against MarineKing.
And the drone does not get away. It was canceled. So Zerg is not in too much pain right now, but still, Zerg has to get another base up here.
You know,
MarineKing was handling this just right. He's backing up. He's going to regroup here.
Yeah, and look at his supply. 146 against 112. His macro is actually off the hook right now. And here we go. He's going to try to engage. Here come the Banelings.
Baneling's doing a ton of damage here, but it looks like MarineKing's control once again is just too good. Oh my god.
That is actually some really great control right there.
Whoa.
You're very right. And that's scary as a Zerg player, I have to say, to see something like that, especially after you killed that first army. Normally after you kill a free army, like what MarineKing gave him early game, then you feel like you're going to be unbeatable. But with spreading like that, Tasteless, anything is possible.
And he's taking out all the creep in this area, just making sure that Zerg doesn't have ability, so Zerg can't, again, secure this position again or get anywhere else and have that creep ability help. Look at this split here. MarineKing got to control his units just right, it looks like.
Oh,
very
man.
nice. Whoa.
He's actually almost making me think that you have to have infestors to deal with these.
I think you're right.
Completely wild how many Banelings he can actually take out with his Marines.
Yeah, if this was any other Terran player out there, I think this game would look pretty different, but instead he's just able to make so much and split it up still. He's able to control such a massive army.
Yeah, it's quite amazing how good he actually is. And look at this beautiful contain point he's on. Yeah, see this? Runs right back to that little choke of the ramp with Marauders in the front. Banelings are not going to want to hit that.
Yeah, I love the Marauders in the front. They can tank so much damage from the Banelings, thus making them pretty much useful. The Marines are what really need to avoid the Banelings since they can be killed instantly if they are hit. By the way, they're trying to expand again over here, but the real tension point over here is actually at the ramp, which is currently being blocked up by Marauders, backed up with Marines.
Oh, man. So many Marines. And the Baneling's going in. Gets a few good hits finally.
Wow, that was actually one really good hit there on those Marines.
Yeah, but still, he has so many Marines in there. His Mutila's just going to go down. And ST Monster, we're going to see a GG. There it is.
Wow. That's why they call him MarineKing.
Yeah.
Pretty impressive game back there. He did make kind of a blunder there early on, sending his army out.
Yeah.
But I guess it doesn't matter. You can see the frustration in Monster's face. He probably thought he had a much better chance of winning.
Yeah, no, once you kill that first free army taste, as you said, you're supposed to pressure with that.
Right.
You're not actually supposed to try to do damage. If you do damage, it's because your opponent made a mistake.
Yeah.
If you're playing in such a way that you're relying upon your opponents making mistakes, that's just not solid play. But he came back with ridiculously solid play after that big bungle. Normally, after Terran does that, Zerg is like, oh, okay.
Well, getting the third is almost free.
Yeah.
Because they've lost all those units. I think Zerg might have wanted to take the third base a little bit sooner there. He stayed on 2 base for a little bit longer than I thought he would have. Once you kill off a chunk of the Terran's army, that's the moment.
Yeah.
That you got to expand. You got to capitalize on that.
It's going to take them a while to rebuild, to get back out there, because their production facilities aren't going to be, that great, especially when they attack you that early in game with a decent amount of units.
So, if we can learn anything there, it's that if your opponent makes a mistake, you got to capitalize on it.
Yeah.
Now we're going to go on to game number 2 here momentarily. It is on the map Steps of War. If there's one map I would not want to play MarineKing on, as Zerg, and I think it'd be Steps of War because you're so close together. He doesn't even have to get an expansion up. He can just Marine SCV rush you, and kill you. So
and that could be pretty
tough.
Scary. Well, we'll see.
Right.
Tasteless.
The countdown started. Get ready for game number 2 with MarineKing against Monster. Who's going to win? We're going to find out soon enough. This is the GSL with Tasteless and Artosis. Get ready for some TVZ action. Once our Korean commentators are ready to wrap it up.